Happy Wednesday, Boston, and welcome to episode 2 of BCA's Lunchtime Listening Sessions. My name is Lindsay Allen Cox, and I am the Director of Theater Arts here at BCA and curator of BCA's #HellaBlackLive mixtape. Similar to #HellaBlack, the Lunchtime Listening Sessions were born out of the desire to amplify the voices of Black and Brown artists here in Boston. To that end, and thanks to the kind support of BCA donors, we bring you 7 weeks of performances by some of Boston's dopest musicians and spoken word poets. For today's edition, I am thrilled to welcome spoken word poet SublimeLuv. Amber Aliyah Williams, aka SublimeLuv, is a Black queer womanist who always speaks her truth and believes the personal is political. She is a Boston-born and bred spoken word artist. She was educated in private and public local school systems and became an activist through words at an early age due to her contrasting experiences in those institutions. She has a BA in Sociology from Simmons University. SublimeLuv has performed at the Museum of Fine Arts, the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, the city of Quincy's first Pride celebration, and has been an active performer in the Femme Show since 2014. Through her art and future endeavors, she aims to empower women and non-binary people of the global majority to impact visibility and positive global change. It is more than a pleasure to welcome to the virtual Zoom stage, SublimeLuv.
When they see me coming, they know it's me. I walk, talk, and breathe poetry. In the beginning was the word, and it was me. Infinite love, truth, and justice. Yeah, they all bless this, long to bust with my energy, not understanding the supreme synergy. Roots. I come from strong trees, planted deep in earth, ever flourishing, bark in every shade of brown. I was raised by Amazon women. Their leaves always provided shade from the scorching sun. I was placed in nutrient-rich soil. My queens gifted me rain, pushing up my growing branches to the sky. My circumference grows more immense each day. When they come to gaze at me in praise, I will forever point out my roots. Hello, loves. It is a true honor to be performing with the BCA this afternoon. Shout out to Lindsay. Thank you so much. I'm really, truly honored and humbled to be here. My name is SublimeLuv. Sublime means supreme, outstanding, and I spell love, L-U-V, to signify revolutionary love. That's love for oppressed peoples, Black love, gay love, trans love, and disabled love. We truly do need revolutionary love today. Essentially my identity, I am very intersectional. I'm not only a woman, but I'm a Black woman. I'm a queer Black woman, and I'm a queer Black woman with mental illness. So I am living proof that all Black lives matter. So yes, the context behind this next piece is a little bit about my personal history, but there are 2 words in there that you guys probably don't know. It's region, which is the N-word spelled backwards, and Bo Felicia, which signifies an urban, stereotypical Black woman. My family used these terms, unfortunately, but I just wanted to give context to those words, and because you won't know what they are. So this one is called I Am From. I am from hardwood floors and porches with Black teenagers sitting close, discussing life. I am from Nana's loud laughter, Pa's strong cologne, Magic 106.7, Kiss 108, and Jammin' 94.5. I am from the scent of salt water at the inkwell, tandem bike rides down sandy streets, and heavy backpacks. I am from trips to the corner store for candy. I am from lobster and butter on New Year's Eve, and Nana's can't ever resist, baked from scratch, cookies and cakes. I am from my mother's best in the world buffalo chicken, pizza, and Chinese food when she was too sick to cook. I am from We Were Never Slaves. Look at that region in Bo Felicia. I am from You Can Lead a Horse to Water, but you can't make him drink. I am from Cleanliness is next to godliness. I am from endless Michael Jackson music videos and Tracy Chapman's Crossroads album being on repeat. I am from being Black and just finding Nas at 15. I am from still loving rock and alternative. I am from not really knowing my father's side, but that through Islam that are Rasul. I am from Williams and Matthews and Black folks from Canada. I am from native tribes, the West Indies, China, and Africa that started it all. I am from Roxbury, a place that is being bulldozed for gentrification. I am from love, crazy, wild love that is still fighting for freedom. Alrighty, y'all. So I'm gonna get really personal with this set, so please do come along with me for this ride, this journey. Keep your hearts and your ears open. My journey to self-acceptance as a young Black woman luckily started in my teenage years. I went to a private school called Dana Hall School in Wellesley, Mass. Very prestigious, very wealthy white girls that attended. And I essentially read The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. I joined a youth group in Boston, in the inner city of Boston, that talked about, you know, Black people and drugs in our communities and colorism and all those issues. So luckily I was able to kind of have an awakening during my teenage years. But I still dealt with, from my own family history and just how things were set up in my family, internal oppression was a big deal going on. And it's a big deal for all people of the global majority, because the structure of white supremacy is so deeply instilled in us that sometimes we internalize those messages and believe them, believe that we're less attractive, believe that we're less intelligent, that we are less in general. So this piece explores that via a personal lens, and it's called Bones. There is a skeleton in my closet. The time has come for it to be exposed. Many of us have these heavy bones still lying around or hanging up. The cartilage I speak of first takes shape with thoughts, believing that one is better than some of the other Black folk, that being woke and educated sets you apart. My Black was ashamed of the hood, because when you're oppressed, the hate spewed at you permeates your mind, seeping into your bloodstream. One starts to buy into the narrative of those with color truly being inferior. So you play Olympic games of less than, elevating status, giving gold medals to those that assimilate well, look the part. My Nana called Black people regions, the N-word spelled backwards. Born in 1930, she passed for white. Most of her kids were fair, except for my browner hued aunt, who she wasn't too inclined to show off. She called me exotic and foreign when I was birthed into this world, relieved that I wasn't dark with coily hair like my father, would complain that my sister's hair was nappy, loved me even more when my hair was blown dry. This was what formed my skeletal system. The spine grew up right, strong, tall, at Dana Hall, one of the most prestigious private schools for girls in the world. Being exposed to whiteness and wealth was a pill that my innocent Black girlhood swallowed at first. I would show off old pictures of my Nana when she was young, desiring that my classmates see me as they see themselves. I just knew Blackness wasn't good. It was ugly, shameful, and undesirable. Years went by. I aged and became conscious, learning and loving every bit of my Blackness. It was a journey I fought hard for, still fight. Each day is resistance from a skeleton that whispers self-hate. Internal oppression is pervasive. It must be named to be dissected. We must discuss it to demolish, turn all of our collective bones to ash. All right, y'all. So I have struggled with my name a lot in my life. My name is Amber Williams. So every time I go on an interview and, you know, white folks that are interviewing me, the first thing they say is, "Oh, you're Amber." So I understand that is a privilege in a lot of ways, but it's hard for me to actually deal with that. And I just kind of, this poem's gonna answer that question. So it's called What's in a Name? I wish my name was harder to pronounce. Like to call me, they would have no other option but to put down their oppressive tongues. Yes, Todd, roll those R's. Use your diaphragm. Click the back of your mouth. Rise up to get my attention. Do some damn work. My name is too easy. It aligns within their lines. This name I was given is like blacks marching for civil rights. That is plenty brave and a strong way to resist. But I want my name to come out of lips like Nat Turner's Violent Rebellion. A takeover of syllables. Ask me, what does it mean? Let me bombard you with my history. Make you stare at this blackness, this queendom. Keep begging me to teach you how to say it. And I won't respond until you get it right. Yeah, that poem always pumps me up. So this next one, I wrote this poem out of anger. Years ago, I was on Twitter, and this black man was talking crap about dark-skinned black women. So honestly, it just frustrated me, and I had a back and forth dialogue with him, but I was getting nowhere. So I wrote this poem out of anger and frustration, and it's called Letter to the Black Rose. I want to be a tar baby. I'm not praying for white skin. I don't want the bluest eye, no offense, Miss Morrison. I desire the deepest, most brown, chocolate mocha skin. I want a blackout to occur when I walk in, so they don't know what hit them. I want to cover the world in my eternal history, supremely, evidently, African. Black like the universe, so beautiful. I reverse the curse in their heads that I am evil, ugly, too black, blue black, the opposite of right. You fools aren't witty enough. I wish for the blackest tone, and the earth would moan with pleasure. I would be the most divine woman, made in the Creator's image. All else came for me. I dream of blackberries, black cherries, paint my skin, make me deep, like the soil that sustains the food that nourishes humanity. Make me true, the most preferable hue, the most melanin, the one that takes the longest to show age signs. I pray to wake up beautifully blessed, with my skin being the darkest, the best. I must confess, I don't like my veins to show. Cover up my mortal marks, Father. Make me the antithesis of chalk, black, like the blackboard that holds vital words, black, like the night sky, allowing us to enjoy star works. This is my confession. Everyone seems to think my lightness is some sort of a blessing, but the truth is, it's more like a curse, a sign of having been tampered with. Don't be insecure, sis. Your blackness is your pureness. You're gorgeous, limitless. I'll give you the most passionate kiss if you promise to share your goodness with me. And in the morning, have your skin align with mine. With endless love, your sis, Sublime. All right, y'all. Keep rocking with me here. So essentially, we all know this. This is a proven fact. Black people are the original peoples of Earth, of this planet. Our story has been diluted, reduced to slavery and the fight for civil rights, which we are still fighting for. Africa has been made to seem poor and uncivilized, when in reality, colonialism and imperialism are the reasons why Africa has been stripped of its own natural resources and wealth. There are cities on the continent of Africa that are just as advanced as other cities across the globe. Africa is the beginning and holds the roots of every human construct. This is called ancient. I am a queen, as ancient as Africa itself, a continent that predates time. I remember home, standing beside the point where the blue and white Nile meet, on the way to Egypt, bearing witness to eons worth of dynasties. I am both Igbo and Yoruba, both Xhosa and Zulu. My tongue speaks over 2,000 languages. This soil I stand on bursts diamonds. The rocks in me pour out gold. I am truly organic. I define supreme. They copied my original recipe for all their Western religions. I am mother, yet they deny me and have disrespected my name, stolen my children. I will refuse to forget your lullabies and folktales, forever holding true to your proverbs. I am always old, always new. You live in me, every breath I breathe. For I am a queen, as ancient as Africa itself. So y'all, this next poem is a fun anthem to my Black Queen sisters. And it speaks to really the self-love that we have to embody to exist in this world filled with racism and patriarchy. Within the Black Lives Matter movement, Black women that die from the hands of police don't often get as loud as an outcry as the men do. We are still trying to get the murderers of Breonna Taylor arrested. So this poem is called Slay. Let us slay. May we remain dipped in gold, and our melanin stay popping. Black women are gifted, superhuman. We walk, they watch. We dance, and they try to mimic the cadence. We rose up from the concrete slabs of not only racism, but sexism too. We are deemed nigga and bitch. Don't let our voices be too loud, our passions too strong. We be angry Black women. They pretend that our anger isn't righteous, ignore our deaths at the hands of police like we were the half humans of our own race. Black women are great. We create, birth nations. When the world casts us aside, I say, it's time we worship ourselves. So let us slay. May we remain dipped in gold, and our melanin stay popping. All right, I'm gonna keep taking y'all on a journey. Feel free to keep giving me feedback. I definitely love that. So essentially, I'm gonna just keep going with my personal intersectionality here. So I came out at 19. I came out as a lesbian at that time. Now I identify as queer. But when I came out at 19, I'll be 35 on Sunday. So it wasn't that long ago, but the atmosphere really was different as far as the levels of acceptance that society had. And also, unfortunately, it was hard for me, I feel like my experience, honestly, unfortunately, it mirrors a lot of Black queer experiences when we come out. Not to say that these experiences don't happen with other racial groups, but I feel that due to religious and cultural beliefs, queerness is often very hard to navigate for us, and our humanity is often challenged and or ignored, even within our own movements. So I have to say, queer, Black Lives Matter. This one is called Black and Queer. To be Black and queer is to break your family's heart, even if they don't tell you. They whisper behind your back, pray for your soul. My mother's tactic was an attempted exorcism of the gay spirit inside me. My father told me that my love of women will send me to hell. To be Black and queer is to be excluded from the love of the greater Black community, to be other inside of your own home, places of worship, to be disregarded, lumped into the same category as pedophiles, to be a disgusting thing. To be Black and queer is to be brave, bold, bright, to shine in spite of, to reclaim time, space, truth, living out loud. We care not of their opinions, creating cultural trends, birthing movements. To be Black and queer is to be aware that this world isn't worthy of us. We not only exist, but we thrive, despite racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia. We are the definition of fly, despite endless attempts at clipping our glorious wings. We soar. All right, y'all. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Okay, I'm getting some of the comments. Thank you. Please keep them coming in. I love y'all. Thank you for all these beautiful comments and your energy. So I'm gonna just keep on going with my intersectionality right now. So like I said earlier, I have a mental illness. I was diagnosed with bipolar type 1 disorder at 15 years old. It was super hard. What teenager wants to be told that they have to take meds and that they're going to have this condition for the rest of their lives? I struggled with it a lot in my teens and in my 20s. Took me 7 years to get my diploma from Simmons. So it was definitely a long journey. I have been out of a hospital now. My last hospitalization was 8 years ago. So I feel like I'm definitely a strong mental health advocate. Whatever way you have to heal, heal. Don't be ashamed if you have a mental illness. Don't let the stigma drag you down. So I just want to say, disabled Black Lives Matter. This one is called A Haunting. Mental illness has haunted my entire existence. It is a spirit that I can only tame, yet never rid myself of. It has possessed both my mother and father. They have succumbed to its frights, and now they self-medicate with religion or drugs. I choose the psychoactive ones prescribed by a doctor's hand. One of my best friends got lost in a haunted house and is yet to find his way out. I fear it will swallow my nephew whole, for he is next in line. In my experience, the only way to live with ghosts is to study them, understand what sets them off, pay attention to what you're doing when they become still. Quiet. These apparitions choose you as a home for a divine purpose. Be grateful, love them, be kind. Don't envision it a haunting. Know you are gifted. One day, I will have gained more wisdom. One day, this will be a new poem. I will call it a blessing. So this next one also deals with my mental illness identity. My identity is having a mental illness. In this piece, I'm going to read it to you. It's relatively new. But with this piece, I kind of thought about myself in the future as it pertains to bipolar. So it's kind of reimagining it and looking at it in the long-term view. So here we go. It's called Bipolar Sky. I have lived through multitudes of apocalypses, woken up tied down to hospital beds, sedated, plucked like feathers from a manic high. I live under a bipolar sky, where the clouds bring storms 100% of the time, and when the sun shines, it is scorching, deathly humid. I have existed in extremes. I call balance home now. 8 years have passed since I left the lock ward. This future continues to reinvent my past narrative. I still imagine a new day in the sky, but in this story, I'm traveling through clouds, on a plane, visiting distant lands. When the world opens up again, I rebirth myself free. And isn't this the audacity of hope? All right, y'all, so I'm gonna switch gears a little bit. I'm gonna talk a little bit about love, but not just about the romantic and idealized love. Love really is an action and it takes work. I feel like Black love is a lot of work because we're dealing with so much systematic oppression from society. Sometimes it's hard to let go of that in our intimate relationships. And when we deal with, white supremacy on a daily basis, sometimes we bring kind of like those feelings into our own relationships. But Black love stories matter, and Black love matters because just by loving each other as Black people, we are in an active form of resistance. So this poem, I'm going to read this as well. It's relatively new, and it talks about basically love as a journey and kind of, I'm just going to get into it and not talk about it. So this one is called Seasons. This love is deeply rooted. Starting in spring, we were gorgeous and green, new buds blossoming. We began boldly. As onlookers noticed, they couldn't stop staring. Announcing this union was grounding. We carved out a home in fresh earth. The smooth summer breeze on our leaves, allowed us to play and learn the other. Time was slow then, my love. Date nights were often. We found our bodies intertwined daily. The heat created mirrored the weather, not a cloud in the sky. Even errands were enjoyable. Never felt such a rush. When the colors came, we fell too, seeing flaws and imperfections. Days got cool as arguments surfaced, doors slammed, tears shed, rain poured on bare branches. But we remember love, how deep we go in the soil. Rise to action, choosing work, the fight to recall the warmer days. When the snow came, it made for heavy limbs. The frigid air snapped some of our weaker arms off. Apologies became common. We pieced together what was on the ground, making a commitment to make love more. Anxiously and with immense strength, we battle the odds for spring's return. So, some more background, some more stories coming at you. I had a long losing season where I lost 3 people in 2 years. And it started off in 2017. My grandmother, who is in many ways like my mother, passed in February of 2017. My best friend in the whole world, who I knew since I was 15, we were basically sister friends. She was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer just 2 weeks after my grandmother passed away. That following May of 2018, she lost her battle to cancer. And then in September of 2018, my cousin suddenly passed away, my oldest cousin. And him and I were low-key, high-key, my grandmother's favorites. And I just want to talk a little bit about Black women as it pertains to the medical industrial complex. A lot of times, you know, the death rates at our births for Black women are extremely high compared to white women. I feel like Black women will go to, you know, try and get help from doctors, and our cries are ignored or silenced. My best friend, her name's Cara Matthews. She was looking for an answer with her symptoms for a long time. And one of the doctors that she saw was a white woman who told her that she should be happy that she was losing weight. So yeah, this poem is dedicated to Cara Janelle Matthews, and it's called 3519. Today is your birthday. I still celebrate, even though you exist in spirit now. I make a wish that I know is impossible to grant, but I would give anything to see you. Sing happy birthday just once more. There is an immense sadness to only find you in pictures, looking and remembering all your past birthdays. I close my eyes, pray life into those visions, recreating recollections. I find you in memory. Hold on until it hurts. You are dancing, wearing multicolored clothes. Your smile is sunshine. Today was bright, and so was the day your soul ascended. I know where to find you. I must look past clouds. Yeah, so this one is dedicated to my grandmother, Dorothy Harris. And I just want to say that Black people, when they grieve, just let them grieve. Black lives always matter. And when we lose the ones we love, just like anyone else, it's a long process for us to go through. And sometimes I feel like our grief is often looked at as not grief. It's looked at as anger or, you know, being unapproachable, when really we're just mourning the ones that we love and lost. At times it's really, you know, to express any emotion besides smiling kind of labels us Black people as, you know, all these negative connotations. But like this one is called Light Years, and it's dedicated, like I said, to my grandmother, Dorothy Harris. They found another solar system, Nana. It's 40 light years away. Their sun is less strong than ours, but it glows. Some of those planets may have the possibility to sustain life. They rotate around their sun within days, proving what I have known, that time is constructed. My spirit has lost strength since your soul made its departure. I'm just glowing softly. continuing on with the belief that you still have life, maybe just some light years away, where time is less rigid. You and Pa are dancing to eternal songs. This is comfort. Please let me hear the music. All right. Woo. Okay. So switching gears a little bit. These past few months for all of us have been extremely difficult. We're losing people. It's a pandemic. These are unprecedented times. None of us could even imagine what we're going through right now in our worst nightmares. And I feel like through the lens of the pandemic, I think the Black Lives Matter movement, in my opinion, gained a lot of momentum because people were silent, because people weren't working in the same capacity as normal. We weren't rushing to our next business meeting in the same way. I feel like with the deaths of Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and George Floyd, I feel like people were, it was blaringly evident that how broken the system was and how deep racism goes. So even for people who were skeptical before and weren't, understanding white privilege, it became so real because we were paused in time and reflecting. And so I think that's really why, over all the states in the United States had protests, over 18 countries had protests, but Black people are still angry, right? Because it took this long. It's maddening that it took this long, and it took so many deaths at the hands of police for people to respond, for society to respond in the ways that they have. So this poem comes out of anger. And I wrote this around the time of Trayvon Martin's murder. And his murder really touched me because he was just a child. So yeah, this one is called Resurrection. For every dead Black body, I attempt a resurrection through poetry. May my words affirm our existence. The fact that we not only matter, we are divine. We are being hunted because they know this. They fear the fact that history always repeats itself. So let me tell you about our wealth, how we had empires. The richest human being in the history of time was an African man, Mansa Musa. The Pope prays to a Black Madonna and child. They are but a diluted version of Aset and Haru. Feel this truth. God made man in his image. The most ancient human skeleton, Lucy, was found in Ethiopia. Let us rise from slumber. In this capitalistic society we are under, they have broken us off from waking. Love and hip-hop dreams we see, trying to gain celebrity, when it is us that rival stars. We charted the sky eons ago. They took our knowledge, called it their own, enslaved us and fed us lies. We are not the minority. The world majority are melanated peoples. Got us running to churches and mosques, praying to white gods. I said God made man in his image. They fear history repeating itself. We are the wealth that created wealth. Now take my word for jewel in your open light. For every dead Black body, I attempt a resurrection. So I just want to tell you guys, if you have questions, comments, inspirations, do put them in the chat, because after this is over, I want to dialogue with you guys. So think of things, put it in the chat. I'd love to get back to those thoughts. This next one is called Reimagining, and I had curated with Dorchester Art Project. We called in submissions for artists to write about, and my theme that I came up with was reimagining the future. I feel like there's an immense possibility for restructuring our society as we know it. I feel like things have changed so drastically within months. The government always tells us there's no money for things, but all of a sudden there was aid to us. Corporations, you have to be at the office. All of a sudden you're at home. I feel like the time to really reimagine what this new world could be is now. And I feel like we have to be united and join as a collective force to restructure society and make it better for all of us, not just some of us. So I'm going to read this one. It's relatively new. Again, it's called Reimagining. I sing, bellowing from my gut. It is a hymn, a prayer, an invocation. I summon the winds of change to sweep this nation. Lift us up as if we are in the eye of a tornado. Move us rapidly. May we shift our path of destruction. Let these winds destroy what no longer serves us here. My song now becomes a chant, a mantra, an offering to the new earth that will grow after the tornado ravages the lands and the winds cease. I call forth not a rebirth. This is a reimagining, a fresh inception. I dream of a new future, one led by the youth, the poor, the people of the global majority, for we hunger for structural change, a society with conscience. In this version of events, we will look back and praise the storm that shifted us here. It will become monument, the sacrifice for a more fruitful existence. I sing, bellowing from my gut, this hymn, this prayer, this invocation. Alrighty, y'all. So we're coming to the end. And you can find me on most social media at Miss SublimeLuv. That's MSSUBLIMELUV. I'd love to stay in contact with all of you and can keep sharing energy. Yes, so I'm just gonna talk briefly before I go into my own, my last piece. And I gotta warn you, this last piece is a heavy hitter, so just be prepared. But I just want to talk a little bit about my future as an artist. I have a lot of amazing things on the horizon. I can't wait to share it with the world. So just keep posted, look out for me. I'm coming. And yes, and I, as an artist, I always try to reflect the truth in the current times, as all artists really, really do. And I try every day to live it and to live my truth. So thank you guys for being a part of the truth that I was sharing. And Black lives have always mattered. And why we have to state this in this way is because our lives have been devalued in this country for centuries. Black people were deemed as 3/5 human beings in order to justify slavery. Those who wrote the Declaration of Independence owned slaves. We have never been in a safe place in America because our skin is seen as a weapon. Hate must truly die because we aren't going anywhere. So this last poem sums up how I feel about my identity as a Black woman and how I feel about my sisters in the struggle of Black womanness. And we are all divine beings, right? Yeah, so here we go. It's called Who is God? The Black woman is God. I said, the Black woman is God. Let every picture of white man Jesus be destroyed. May we build new places of worship, honoring the feminine. The Black woman is God. The most ancient human skeleton is a Black woman. Mama Africa be home to humanity. It is time for all to see. We are all birthed out of dark wombs. And isn't this a metaphor for the author of the universe? She effortlessly lined up the stars and planets, looked at Earth satisfied, thought, this has all it needs. Let me make the human race. Now I'll tell you all the real story. Mother God made us in her own image out of the earth. We came woman first, and from her rib came man. The true lesser sex. He ain't nothing without a woman, continues to be made manifest from woman, and the original woman be Black, be eternally beautiful, be creator, be God. Hey, so thanks again, you all, for rocking with me, for keeping your hearts and your minds open. I'm in the chat right now, just reading to see if anyone has any questions or concerns. I'm just reading it through. Let's see here. Thank you guys for your beautiful words. Aw, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. So yes, any questions, comments, concerns, you all? Anything you heard that was either inspiring or open your eyes to it, or anything, you know, you want to learn more about my background, the floor is open. Feel free to drop it in the chat. Oh, okay, I see something. Oh, this is a good question from Narouge. All righty. Narouge asked, what advice would you give aspiring spoken word artists? Oh my God, this is such a beautiful question, because so how my journey with spoken word got started, I'll start with a little bit of a background. I was given a journal in elementary school, and by a social worker, actually. And I started just journaling. I started just writing free writes in journals. It slowly evolved into poetry. And then in college, I started to share my stuff on open mics, and I would read them. And eventually I started to memorize and perform that way. So for aspiring spoken word artists, I would say to not judge yourself, like to just let your poems, let your words flow free. Don't compare yourself to other artists out here. You have your own lane. We all as individuals have something special and unique about us. Don't get wrapped up in comparison. Everyone's poetry is so different and so unique and speaks to their own experience. So just be confident. For all those spoken word poets that are out there that are just trying to come up in the game and on the art scene, just be confident in your style, be confident in your words. People are gonna feel that no matter what, and just keep writing, right? Like write every day. Write as often as you can, because even if you're not liking what you're writing every day, you can take elements and bits and pieces of poems, and put them together later. So I would say just continue to write, continue to speak your truth, continue to be confident. Don't judge yourself, don't compare yourself, and just network with art organizations, get on stages, even if you have to do it, for free, get exposure. You have, everyone starts from somewhere. So just be humble as well. And that goes for any art in any career. You have to start off with humility and just work hard, right? Yeah. So I hope that was good enough answer. So, okay. So from Lauren asked, how can artists best support each other? That's a beautiful question. And I am really lucky that I have friends that really support my art. As far as artists are concerned, I feel like we can be inspired by each other as artists, whether you're a visual artist, a musical artist, a spoken word poet. I feel like just allowing ourselves to be inspired by one another is support. Putting each other on. My friend Amanda Shea and I, whenever someone offers a gig to either of us, we're always like, hey, are you looking for any more artists? Not to be selfish with Shine. Like if you get something, always, double check with the folks that are organizing and just say, hey, are you looking for other artists? And that way you could bring your social group and your friends that are really good artists as well. You can get them exposure as well. So I feel like it's definitely just looking out for each other and being inspired by each other is really just an amazing way to support. Show up to your friends' shows, buy their chapbooks, buy their merch. Yeah, artists definitely have to support other artists because we're all doing this amazing work out here. So I hope that answered the question, Lauren. So Kai asked, so I'm a Black girl at a New England boarding school where the Black boys really only value us as sexual beings and struggle supporting the Black community in general. Any advice on what I can do to spread the truth about the importance of Black femmes / all Black lives? Oh, wow. Ooh, Kai, this is loaded. Yeah, I went, as you heard in my set, I went to Dana Hall School, which was a, all girls school. But so I can only imagine going into a co-ed boarding school where your fellow, Black boys are not looking at you in a respectful way. I feel like, gosh, this is so loaded. I'm trying to think. So I would say so spreading truth, first of all, starts with yourself. So you find the truth in yourself, you become confident in that truth, and you share that truth with others. Just like all my work today, even though it was personal, the personal is always political. So our identity as Black people, and especially Black women and Black femmes, we have to be confident in ourselves and stand up for ourselves. Because unfortunately, oftentimes, we're not stood up for, even by our counterparts. So I would say definitely to just be confident, and don't settle for being what they view you as. Don't settle for just being viewed as a sexual object, or, don't settle for that. Challenge them, challenge those Black boys. Say, well, isn't your mother Black? Do you have respect for your mother? You come from a Black woman. So I would challenge them to think about their own identity. And sometimes when we treat each other as Black people, when we treat each other poorly, that really is just a reflection of internalized oppression. That's us believing the messages that we are inferior, so we don't treat each other kindly. So we all need to get out of that spell of internal oppression and just realize that we are not the minority. We are the global majority. Black women are powerful. We birthed nations, right? So just stand in that glory, stand in your divinity, and don't let them see you as just a sexual object. Challenge them in their own Blackness. I hope that answered the question. Okay, so Narouche says, internalized racism is real. It's hard for some folks to recognize, even when they are perpetuating it. Yes, it is very much so. Oh my God, yeah, it's so layered and nuanced. I could go on and on about it, but yes, I feel like I think it's hard for people to sometimes recognize, is because it's so ingrained in our subconscious. It's in colorism, right? So within colorism, darker hued people, the global majority, don't have as much privileges as those with lighter skin. I can definitely admit my light skin privilege, and the way I look has opened doors for me that it might not have necessarily been as easily open for my dark skinned brothers and sisters. That's a real thing. I feel like sometimes it takes a lot of work for people to even acknowledge their privileges, and even within colorism type of privilege, it's also class privilege, because all Black people don't come from the same socioeconomic status. So class mixes in with that, colorism mixes in with that, how we view the opposite sex as people of the global majority. It's just, yeah, exactly. Yep, Narouche is speaking to what I'm speaking to. Colorism, texturism, featureism, so many layers. So what Narouche is saying, I spoke on colorism, but texturism is a thing as well, as far as hair texture, because oftentimes when Black people compare themselves and view themselves in a Eurocentric image of beauty, looser curls are more sought after, and they're called good hair, right? But all hair is good hair. But just to educate you guys on what texturism is, it's the type of hair that we have. And then with featureism, as Narouche stated, featureism is a big thing too, because when you're dealing with Eurocentric standards of beauty, of course you're looking at a certain way of being beautiful, which is usually with a slimmer nose, thinner lips. You're looking at beauty as a Eurocentric model, and of course Black people who do not have those Eurocentric features are often treated way harsher than those that have similar features. I hope that kind of answered some of that. But yeah, there is so many layers to it. There's so much nuance to it. And we just have to really get into our own subconscious. Like with my poem Bones, there's still little bits and pieces of me in the recesses of my mind that still deal with it, because it was ingrained in me growing up, So we always have to continue to fight with ourselves. No one ever fully arrives. And I think with white people too, you have to realize, even if you are anti-racist, the work is never done, because we live in a white supremacist society. So we're all functioning under white supremacy. So we all have to continue. For people of the global majority, we have to undo the work of white supremacy. And for white people, we have to tear down white supremacy. They have to tear down white supremacy and realize that they're still ever evolving. White folks cannot center themselves anymore in this movement. All righty. All right, y'all. Any more questions, comments, inspirations, words to share? Feel free. I think we have about maybe 7 minutes left. So I don't know if anyone wants to, if you guys are all set. I don't know, I'm just waiting. I'll give it a second. See if anyone has anything else. I think I'm just making sure I answered all the questions that were brought up. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Just making sure I got everything. Okay. Let's see. Anyone? Anyone? Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Okay, so Naruj asks, can you talk some more about your relationship with your grandmother? You did work on learning internalized racism. Did you have any luck helping her do the same? How did that impact your relationship with her? Oh, wow, this is really good. So yeah, my relationship with my grandmother, that was the love of my life. I will say that, you know, she was my mom in a lot of ways. I didn't realize until later on in life when I was undoing my own work, just how deep-seated her anti-Blackness went, right? And the messages that I got that were so blatantly terrible, I didn't realize it when I was in those moments growing up. I feel like I was one of her favorites, not just because of my birthday being the day after her, but because of the way I looked. Like I said in my poem Bones, she called me exotic, she called me foreign, really happy that I didn't appear to be, you know, dark skinned with a certain type of hair. I learned these stories later as I aged about that. And then I had to unlearn it, right? Now, basically, yeah, okay, we're gonna wrap up after this question, but let me continue. So there was a point in my life, I think I was a teenager, and I had said to a friend, I said, she's pretty for a dark-skinned girl. And as soon as those words left my mouth, I realized how terrible that was, how I was negating her beauty because of her skin tone. So when I said those words, that's when I knew I had a lot of work to do, because I didn't want to be operating in this world under that system, under that way of thinking. I feel like later on in life, my grandmother actually it took towards the end of her life to admit that she was Black. She was in a nursing home, and she would always play with kind of like the staff there and be like, what do you think I am? What do you think I am? And they would always guess, you know, white or Italian, you know, some type of, you know, European descent. And she would always be like, I'm Black. So I feel like it, you know, maybe she came full circle towards the end of her life. It took her whole life. Yeah, but I hope that answered it. Do you have any? Yeah, so unfortunately, when I was learning and growing, my grandmother wasn't. It wasn't until the end of her life that she actually acknowledged who she was, unfortunately. But yeah. Okay, y'all. So thank you again. Thank you all again for your keeping your hearts, your minds open, for just listening to me, my story, how the personal is political. Black Lives Matter, queer Black Lives Matter, disabled Black Lives Matter, and they always will be. They always have been, and we always will be. So yes, I love you all. Bye-bye.